Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I am grateful to be here. My name is Lawrence Stone. I help people create enough confidence to build the life of their dreams. And my story began all the way back in high school. When I was young, I got this crazy inclination that I was supposed to do something important and influential in my life. But I felt very uncertain as to what that was. But I was young, I didn't worry too much about it. So I went to college and I started meandering from one degree to another, eventually settling on a degree in music, but still feeling very uncertain as to what I'm supposed to do with my life. As I keep getting closer to graduation, I get married. My wife is expecting our first child. And this burden of knowing what I'm supposed to do with my life is starting to weigh very heavy on me. One day I get in my car and I go to work for a job and at a company that I've recently determined I cannot continue with. I thought there was a potential career path there. But then I realized there was a severe disconnect between the leadership and the employees. And they did not represent the values and the stability that I felt I could continue with. I turned on the radio to listen to an interview with John Maxwell. Now, I had recently become a reader. I had never been a reader in my life, but all of a sudden I started reading books. John Maxwell was a new author I'd never heard of, and I wanted to learn about him, so I knew what books he had that I could read. And in this interview, he starts talking about being a business coach. Never in my life had I ever even heard or fathomed that this was an actual career path, a business coach. I became intrigued. And he started talking about helping businesses have better leadership, having better relationships with their employees, and building businesses. And the more he talked, the more excited I got. And I felt like light was illuminating my soul and filling me up. And I realized this is what I'm supposed to be doing with my life. And for the first time in my life, I had direction. I'm going to be a business coach. And I was so excited about it. But there was a problem. See, I also had a shoulder devil. He jumps up on his perch. He doesn't say he's your shoulder devil, right? He's just a practical part of your brain trying to keep you rooted in reality. And he says, yeah, Dr. Maxwell does some amazing things. So do all these other business coaches that you will notice have all written books. People listen to them. And it's because they're experts in something. It's just too bad you'll never be an expert in anything. No one is ever going to listen to you. And you'll never be smart enough to write a book. You just can't do it, can you? Now, be honest, we've all heard this voice, right? Show me you've heard this voice. Yes. To my shame, I listened to it. I believed it. I allowed him to tear me down, to start extinguishing that light that had filled my soul only moments before. And as quickly as I had found direction, I lost it. It wasn't out entirely, though. I held on to at least a little bit of that light. And I tried to continue to build it. I started where I was at. I read books. As I graduated college, I would go out and meander again, from one career to another, trying to figure it out. But one thing I always did in every career path or every new career path I looked at, I looked for opportunities to mentor other people. Whether they were customers or coworkers I needed to mentor. I started taking training classes and courses, working with mentors, and surrounding myself with a higher mindset of people. One of those people was a gentleman by the name of Kirk Duncan. I got to know him a little bit before I even found out he was a mentor and a coach. I started attending some of his events and some of his classes and learning from him. About 14 years had passed from the time I initially knew I wanted to be a business coach and gave up on it until I received a notice that he was doing a free webinar. And I decided to attend this webinar. At this time, I was also getting ready to meander from my self-employment to something else. I just didn't know what. And I thought maybe Kirk has some insights that'll help me out. Turns out he did. Because eventually he stopped talking to everyone else in the room and just started talking to me. I don't care if he didn't say my name. Anyone else who's on this webinar and was eavesdropping on a conversation knew that Kirk was talking to me. And they can confirm that. That's how obvious it was. And he said, it's time for you to start your coaching business. And it took me back. I was like, you know what? You're right. It is time for me. I've grown, I've developed, I'm a better person, I've worked with people. It's time to start my coaching business. And as I continued to move forward with that plan, guess who showed up? My shoulder devil. I just knocked him off. He wasn't even challenging me anymore. I had grown so much and he was trying to come back harder. And he still tries to come back harder and harder, but I continued to grow and elevate spiritually and mentally to be bigger than him, to knock him off. And I discovered 3 things that I needed to do as I was starting my business to keep my shoulder devil at bay. And I want to share those 3 things with you so you have them as well. So make sure you have something to write with, pen and paper, laptop, whatever you need. Take note, because without these things, you cannot build the life of your dreams. You need to have all 3 of these things, without exception. Number 1, know your vision and gain clarity on it. It's not good enough to know, like, oh, it'd be nice if I did this. Oh, maybe I want to have a family, maybe da-da-da. Oh, I want this career path. I want this income. Not good enough. I want to know what that career path does for you. I want to know what that income does for you. For me, I had 3 things. Number 1, create experiences for my family. We homeschool. I want to travel with them. I need a business that allows me to work from anywhere. Number 2, I believe that I've been called to help promote job creation. I want to hire people. I also want to help other businesses hire people. So a lot of the companies I work with are smaller businesses and solopreneurs. Number 3, I want to be able to liberally give of my time and my money to whatever charity, cause, or organization I deem fit. And with these 3 things in my vision, I move forward and create a business that enables me to do those things. Once you know what you want, step number 2 is reverse engineer and create that pathway. The best way to create that pathway is learn from others. Build on what they're already doing. I started reading more biographies about people, but even more importantly, I signed up for a class through Kirk, who I trusted. I also sat down and I interviewed other coaches and mentors I'd met along the way and learned about their experiences. And what was great about that is they were able to teach me mistakes that I could avoid, but also discouraging things that I couldn't avoid. So when I showed up to that classroom and taught a 2-hour class to an empty room because nobody signed up, I walked out with a huge smile on my face. I gave myself a high five and I said, you did it. This was a difficult step. All the people you interviewed said they had to do the same thing. You taught that empty room. Great. You are 1 step closer to success. Learn from it, move forward, and do better. Learn from others. Learn that pathway. Step number 3, start where you are and create a growth environment. Growth environments require 2 things. 1, education. Keep reading books, take training classes, work with mentors. And number 2, surround yourself with the right caliber of people that will elevate you. They have 3 characteristics. I'm going to tell you what they are, because these are the people I look for in my life. People who love you, people who believe in you, and people who challenge you. Not just 1 or 2 of these characteristics, they need to have all 3. That is who you need to spend most of your time with. I started joining groups and organizations where I'd found people with these characteristics in before, so I knew I could find them there again. But the most important thing that I made sure I did to attract these people into my life is I loved others, I believed in others, and I challenged others. That's part of what makes me a great coach, is I love, believe in, and challenge my clients. Now with my shoulder devil, he still comes and attacks me, but I can just knock him off his perch and let him know, hey, guess what? I'm an expert at something. And it's defeating you. People are listening to me as I speak to them, and as I worked with them one-on-one. I'm even in the process of publishing my first book and writing my second. You just can't stop me, can you? And because I continually focus on what I want, learn the pathway, and create that growth environment, I stand before you today not just Lawrence Stone, but I am Lawrence Stone, business coach, trainer, and speaker. I am the basic trainer, and I established a rhythm to people's visions. Thank you. Oh, that was perfect.